Crowne Tax and Accounting has been around for several years. My career has been as a tax accountant for 30 plus years, and I've worked for several organizations. I started out with Jackson Hewitt and went to H&R Block and went into the accounting world for a little while, and then we started tax services in the credit union in Utah, Mountain America, and once we came out of that, I kind of started to focus more on Crowne and just build that business alone. And one of the things over my years of seeing people paying taxes and things that would happen is that people were paying sometimes an extraordinary amount of tax. And I thought to myself, how do we reduce that? And over years, there were little minor things here and there that we started to look at. And then I had a business partner. As we started to work together, our minds were very similar. And so we started to find different things that we would strategize for to be able to help reduce tax. So we came up with several different things. So one of them is called an Augusta rule. Now, Augusta, Georgia, in the 70s, there was in Congress, they basically put a rule together that said that it would allow the residents of Augusta, Georgia to rent their houses out to the people who come to the golf tournament. The tournament lasts, 10 days, 14 days, something like that. So they said, okay, we'll allow you to have this 14-day rule in place so that if you rent your house to somebody no more than 14 days, then you would not have to put that on your personal tax return. Nowadays, what we do is we allow you, if you have a business and you're a business owner, and it doesn't take much to get there, we start to show you really the two things you need in business are a purpose, and then you need to recharacterize some of your expenses into deductions to allow you to take some of these advantages. And so the Augusta rule is that if I have a business, then I'm able to rent my personal home out for up to 14 days, and usually we don't quite let them go that far. We usually kind of cut it off at 12, but it allows you to then reduce, or you're able to take the money from your business and expense it, putting it in your personal income and not have to report it on the personal income, and you take the deduction over here on the business, which again reduces income. At the end of the day, you don't have as much taxable income. Sometimes that can be an expense or a deduction of somewhere between about $18,000 and $26,000. So if your marginal rates say 10%, then for every $10,000, you're saving $1,000. Now, that's kind of on the lower end. Oftentimes those go up to 22, 24, and those are kind of the averages that people are in. So they can save, $2,500 to $3,000 on every $10,000. So if you're looking at a deduction of $18,000 to $25,000, that's roughly giving you quite a bit back. So those are the things that Crowne started to focus on, and we started to kind of find a niche in where we were coming from. A lot of people that we talked to, interacted with, they loved it because we were reducing tax liability. We weren't just what I call number plugging. You find a lot of CPAs and tax accountants out there, and you give them the data, we plug it in, and that's kind of the way it is. My father-in-law retired several years ago, and he decided, a life change. What will this make for me? So I'm going to go to a CPA. You know what CPA prices are, a lot bigger than a lot of other areas. And he said, I dropped my stuff off. They called me in about 10 days, 2 weeks, and said, okay, your stuff's done. Come on in and get it. And he didn't even get to sit with the CPA and find out anything that went on in his taxes. He didn't get to ask questions. They said, here's what you owe. Here's the documents you need to sign, and here's your documents completely. And they sent him away. And so he thought, well, that's a waste of time. So we really wanted to come around and help people to reduce their tax liability in lots of ways, and we want to teach them. You don't need to know every tax law in the world, but I need you to be a part of the team so that you know where you want to go as we describe and help you understand what could be tax liabilities and how we apply them. And you need to understand the basics to do that. And then we take over and do the rest of that. That's why you hire us. So really that was what Crowne was built around, is to be able to help people to reduce their taxes through the tax strategy piece rather than just being a number plugger.